Oh, wow, two of you. Hello, everybody. All right. Where's Tom at? Evidently, he's not online yet. He's usually the guy that tells me that it's everything's ready to rock and roll here, and I'm making a connection and stuff. But anyways, how's everybody doing on this beautiful, cold, snowy, wintry day? We got about I measured uh, one of the things out there, and we were at like 16 inches. One of the drifts, pretty nuts. Oh, there. Okay. Howdy, there he is. I am not going to stretch my internet cable out from the house to over here because of the massive amount of snow that's outside right now. So please let me know if something goes AWOL, because last time I tried to do this over the Wi-Fi connection, it didn't go well, and I was kind of breaking up a little bit. But yeah, hopefully it goes well today, and there's not a lot of people on the internet, which you know, yeah. But if need be, I will traipse through the snow. There's about, I think we got about 14 inches out there right now, and like I said, one of the snowdrifts that I measured this morning was like at 18 inches. I'm piling snow with my door out here, and it's about 8 inches off the ground. Yeah. Anyways, let's get going today. So where are we at here? So I don't quite recall what we did last time. I think we were just hinging and stuff like that. Today we are going to work on getting our two hatches set up on the fuselage, and getting those things set in stone. And what else was I going to do? All the stabilizer elevator assembly, getting it bolted down to the fuselage. In my own time this week, I went ahead and put a couple hardwood mounts in here for the stabilizer. Got them installed in their epoxy in, so they're not going anywhere. And so that way we can bolt the stabilizer down. So we can, if we get far enough, we can get that done. And I got a couple of new servos for it. I thought my supply was better. I guess I'm gonna have to order some new ones. But these are going to be these 225 MGs. These are going to be our airline servos. They're nice and small, and we use them in quickie racing, so they should hold up just fine in this application. So we can get those installed too if we have time today. Like I said, hopefully everybody's staying warm. It's going to be a brutal week this week. So yeah. Anyway, let's get started on these hatches. So in my opinion, move some stuff out of the way here. There are a couple of ways you can do hatches. Well, there's probably more. I got a couple of my favorites that I like to do. We're going to show two different kinds here. This guy here is going to get it's going to get a screw through the into the firewall through the hatch, and then we're going to put a block back here to put two more screws back here. So that'll be our tank hatch, and then underneath here, I left some wood to put a tab in. So what we'll do is we'll put the sheet here. We'll put a tab underneath the front, so that way we can just put two single screws in the back with another piece of spruce across there to hardwood to install that. So let's start on, I think I was, let's start on the front piece here. Now normally I would do cross grain. This isn't really a structural piece. So, oh, that's right. I was going to, let's start on the bottom one first. I got to put the wing on for that guy. But we'll continue with the cross grain on the bottom here. And then we'll have to put a little filler in there because there's just a little bit of a gap in there. I need with a sliver there. This should be pretty straight across. So what I'm going to do here is I'll cut one big piece out, and then we'll get, since we're doing two of these, we'll get two of our smaller pieces out of this one piece. At least that's the plan right now. Oh, make sure we get her nice and lined up here. Have you guys seen this thing in the background? I am working hard on the cauldron. Getting the belly pan in that installed right now. Okay. Now that we got this piece way too long, we'll trim her down to size to fit our hole here. Okay, so now that we got that, what I like to do, just a little tip, is I'll mark the inside distance between my fuselage former sides. I'll transfer that to the bottom. I know it's only 1/8 of an inch, but my pencil will go right here. Something like that. And then generally speaking, I like to go the other direction with my tab. And it really doesn't matter a whole lot as to how long it is. And you can do this with scrap too. And then what I'll do is I'll make it the width of the inside and just a little narrower. So that way it'll kind of snug up to the few sides. Like that. And then when you put this in here, it doesn't give it a lot of flexibility to move back and forth. If you make the tab real small, it could pivot on you. So it kind of locks it into place. Okay. I'm going to take this over to the scroll saw and cut its piece of spruce. Well, that fits really nice. So what I'm going to do is tuck some of this under here to give it more gluing surface, because we don't need that long of a ledge. This is like 1/2 by 1/4, I think is what this is. Go ahead and run this in here. Try to work a little fast so it does dry. Glue don't dry on me real quick here. There we go. Then I'll just soak some thin CA in the bottom here. Okay. Let that dry before we stick our thing back on there. Okay. I thought I brought it over here. And since eventually we're going to have a keel underneath here, that will be for landing. Need to make sure we got room for the hatch to be removed, and a place for the keel to go. Alright. Man, just when you think everything over here. Okay, there we go. A little bit of light sanding, and okay. Well, there's one down. Like I said, our elevator on one side and rudder servo on the other will end up back here, so that'll give us an access hatch to get in there if we need to. Yeah. So let's go ahead, and this is the right side. The reason why I'm putting the wing on is because I would want to contour the front of the hatch that goes over into the wing. Give it more of a seamless transition in there. Okay. Let me see if I can get you in focus here. So I got a little bit bigger of a piece of wood here, just so I had more to work with. Actually, isn't going to be as much of a transition as I thought. But I'll relieve the front end of this thing. Kind of like that. I don't know if you can see that or not. Just could put a bevel on there. Oh yeah, that looks nice. And then I want to make a pencil mark across the bleeding edge of this thing because I don't want to go off center and not get it in with the firewall here. I'm just moving it side to side here, so that way you can see where it's at. I'm just going to put one screw up here on the front. I think that'll be just fine. Kind of might have to offset it a little bit here. Yeah, that'll work. I'm not going to screw it down all the way just because I ain't got my rear remote blade yet. Okay, this piece here is going to do a couple things for us. It's going to give us a place to put our screws for the hatch. It's going to stiffen up this former up here that we got for the hold down plot things for the wing. And that really needs to happen too. There we go. Yeah, it does. It does take a lot of time to kind of do this little piddly stuff. I enjoy adding a little, figuring out how things are going to work and stuff. But yeah, it's I got in the cauldron back there three pretty full days figuring out the flap linkages and everything on that thing. That was a nightmare. Okay, so since this is kind of set forward, I'm just going to make a couple marks here. Now, I don't know if a lot of guys realize why I use pencil so much, but if you use a pencil mark instead of an ink pen, it's a heck of a lot easier to get rid of the mark with a little bit of light sanding. So only use an ink pen if you won't be able to see it ever again, like a former or something like that. So make sure we're kind of square here and flat. I'll transfer the marks on top, so I kind of got a general idea where everything goes. And then since this is going to be pretty well seen, we're 4 inches wide, so we'll go, I don't know, ½ inch in. And that way it kind of looks, when we put it together, it'll look pretty nice coming to the eye when somebody's looking at it. Not that that's super important, but and I'll use my pencil as a kind of a guide. Now, if you was building a plane where you were maybe building a hatch into it where one hadn't been before. There's a couple other things you can do too to kind of stiffen everything up. You can use more screws. I did that on my stick that's upstairs. It's got a rather large hatch on the top, and make it out of plywood. It'll add some stiffness to the front end of the plane when you're taking strength away like that. If you need a real thick piece and you still need the strength, you can sheet it at the bottom with a piece of plywood to kind of put that strength back into it. This guy has always had a hatch, and it's not a huge requirement to have it be part of the airframe and make it strong. There we go. I like that. Looks pretty nice. Now we'll set this aside and do the same thing to the other fuselage. If you notice that there, I don't know, can you guys tell that there's a color difference between this sheet and this sheet? Yeah, I know Tom can't. He's colorblind. Anyways, the reason why I asked that is because, what I'm looking at, this is yet more yellow than this, and that has a lot to do with the color, the softness of the balsa wood. Now, when I picked this sheet out, I picked something up kind of light and soft. But when I was going to use my hatch, I was like, I need something a little harder. It's going to take screws a little better. So you can also feel the difference, and you can tell the way it's cutting and the way it bends. It's not very pliable, I guess you would say. And I think I cut too much off of this piece yet. I did. But if you keep that in mind, that if you're putting screws in the balsa wood, you could, if it's not a hard piece of wood, you could damage a piece of wood in there, or damage the wood when you put a screw in it. You're doing that right? No. Yeah, I am. Yeah, it's pretty noticeable. I mean, especially in where I'm looking at from it. Hi, Tanya. And I'm just using some thin CA to join this. It's nothing real big there. Okay. Cut it a little tight. That's no problem. There we go. Okay. And I think to the back. Might as well make them the same. Up front. Okay. That must be a soft pencil. Don't want to write. Yeah. And then just like before, I just made another tab on that front edge there. Okay. Still got to sand a little bit off that. Still just fitting a little tight. And keep in mind when you're making these things that you're gonna add covering and stuff to it. So you want a little bit of a gap around everything really. Now, the problem I'm having is this tab is long and it's a little skewed, so it's actually hitting inside the fuselage. So I'm just going to take just a little tiny bit off the end here just to kind of free it up a little bit. This thing still is just a little on the long side here. There we go. That fits better. I'll cut that on my scroll saw there. Nice fit. You ain't got glue on your fingers, are you building? Let that dry for a few minutes. All I'm doing there is marking where my spruce is at, so I can make sure I get in the center of it. Yeah. Okay. I got quite a bit of finishing sanding here to do when we get to that point, but that looks pretty nice. Hey, how you doing, man? Good afternoon. Are you staying warm and with electricity? Yeah, it's I'll show you here in a little bit, but it's yeah, we got at least a foot and a half of snow out there right now. So we are, if you're just joining us, we are making the hatches on the Wonder here. I'm down to the last one here. Yeah, yeah, we got, it's still snowing out. At least it looks like it is. I don't think it's supposed to end till about 10 o'clock tonight. So that's the agenda around here. I know I've been out here almost all day working on the cauldron back there, and I came out this morning and had to check on the pellet stove and stuff and refill it. Yeah, I figured, Tom. Yeah, you weren't supposed to get any snow up there, but I seen it did kind of grace over you a little bit. They but yeah, I was out here probably a couple hours, and I go inside and eat. Or no, I was out here for an hour. Went in, wife made breakfast, and when I came, when I the hour I was out here, I opened the door up to the barn, and I had to use the door to shovel the snow away from the front of the door. It was, and the barn sits about, I think it's like 6 inches off the ground or something like that. So there's probably already 8 inches there this morning. And then came back out here in a couple more hours, went back in the house, and there was even more snow piled up. We ain't had nothing like this in a while. Probably been 4 or 5 years that I can kind of remember. Oh, awesome. Those are good airplanes. Okay. Yeah, I think we're well at 12 right now. Of course, it's been out there snowing all day. Let's go ahead and make that piece of spruce now before I get too carried away here. Driving to work tomorrow morning will be interesting. Oh, there's Annabelle's school. Call it. I bet they just canceled the school for her now. They they already yeah, they already canceled school for the oldest, for Aunt Mackenzie. Oh crap. No, I don't even know what that is. I don't. I have enough trouble keeping up with YouTube. What does this cord do? I've heard of it. Okay, I'll have to look into it because, like I said, I don't know. I've heard of a few other YouTubers talking about it, and like I said, I have enough trouble keeping up with the demands of YouTube here. What I do get that off a little bit. Yeah. There you go. And so, since it's a twin and we've already measured out the right side there, we'll do the same on the left here. So, like I said, I don't think it really matters a whole lot where it ends up going. But it certainly can't hurt. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to look into it. Maybe I can do that this week. Okay. And I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but instead of drilling straight in, I'm drilling at a slight angle to kind of match the angle of this front piece here. That way, when you screw your screw down, it's landing flat with the with the washer and stuff. Yeah, right down the center. Just like the Wonder, me and Tom talked about it, and so yes, I will be throwing a canopy on it. I'll have to put the Wonder for a canopy. The Wonder would have gotten a single profile canopy over the top. So I'm going to center mine in the center and put it over that way. And it trails off to nothing into the stabilizer, so I got to add that yet too. It's just a piece of balsa wood. It literally is just a piece of wood here, kind of like that. Of course, it gets shaped and stuff, but it's on the plans. All right, now the stabilizer elevator assembly. We really don't need the rudders, so I'm going to go ahead and take those off. And I do not have these marked. Yeah, it's just the center profile is all it is. It's not a. I imagine I could probably put a plastic one on there if I want to. I guess I never really thought about that. What do you guys think? Should I go stock with the profile piece of wood that gets covered, or should I put a canopy on it? I could probably get one from like I don't know, anything off of a sport plane would be fine. I don't know if they're still around, but I know Park Flyer Plastics had canopies for Great Plains stuff, and I know I'm not sure. I thought I seen some advertisement after they said that he closed up. So RV4, that's the Great Plains kit, right? Yeah. You might check with Google Park Flyer Plastics. Um, they were known to make them. Okay. Half inch. That's a half inch, so I know we're centered this way. Yeah, and you might. Did you check a cow from Fiberglass Specialties, because they do make that stuff? Well, an eighth of an inch out. That's pretty good. So we're longer on this end, so we need to very little. That was way too much. 7 3/4. 18. Probably don't matter a whole lot being that close. Yeah, I totally get that part. I don't like making the plugs either. Yeah, we'll run with that. Yeah, like I said, I would check with Fiberglass Specialty, because I know he's got canopies and stuff, so that might be worth getting into or looking into. Um, if you're on Facebook, there's a Great Plains page on there. You might get on there and see if anybody's got a spare one. I don't have one. I've never had the Great Plains R before. But there's always those guys out there that buy stuff for um, spares and then never use it. So I was going to put 1/4 20 in here, but I think that's just a little on the overkill side. So you can get smaller nylon bolts. These are 1032. That's what I'm going to put in them. For size comparison, here's a 1032 next to a 1/4 20. So I'm gonna have to drill these 4 holes in the tab. I'm not exactly sure what drill bit to use here. I usually go on the small side, since you're tapping into wood. It clears out a lot better, and it's easier to go small than bigger, or to make a big hole small. So what we're looking for here is I'm looking for a drill bit that is inside the threads, and that is a 8-inch drill bit. No problem. So I'm just going to come back a little bit here. I'm trying to remember what size those, I think they were 1.5 inches, I think is what I made them. 1 inch. So I'll just kind of eyeball it back and we'll split the difference and go 1/2 inch there. And just like I did before here. There we go. And since I got such a big piece here, I'm going to drill the first one. I'm going to pull it off, and I'm going to tap that with my tap, which I thought I already had out here. Yep, there it is. Yeah, 1/8 inch is a little small because it won't start. So I'll go to the next size up and see if I can get 9/64 to start. Yeah, that's a lot better. And then we got to find a drill bit that's going to be a through hole for that. The 3/16 looks like that's it. Okay. And don't over tighten these either. They do not need to be super tight. Then we'll go ahead and switch drill bits. I'm going to recheck my diagonals here with the wing. 17 7/8. Yep, 17 and I'm good. Okay. And just like with the wing mounting bolts, I'll go ahead and thin-CA these threads up. Let that sit for a little bit. Well, we can drill out the rest of the holes there. Yep. All right, there we go. I was gonna run them in there. Not a real reason to tighten them all the way down. As soon as they got it coming back apart again. Wow, an hour's went by already. Anyways, don't leave yet. There's the, you can't hardly see it, but there's the cargo trailer. There's my other trailer. It's completely buried. Got a nice big snowdrift out there. Thanks, Tom. So does anybody got a suggestion on canopies? Should I just make the stock one? I could probably get a some kind of canopy, like a here's one for a Sig something extra. Maybe we should. I can always get another one from Sig. That looks a little big. Yeah, it looks a tiny bit big. I think it's too wide. Maybe one off of a Cougar. That's an idea. Spitfire style? No. Maybe a cut down 4-star 40. That looks way too big. What if we took I mean, this one's the damaged one. I'm sure everybody here has seen the 4-star 40 revival. Where are my dang scissors at? Right there. What if we took? Boy, this thing is brittle. Under it cracked. What if I cut a couple inches off of Of course, I'd probably do a little better job than that, form it around the. Yeah, you and me the same. I got that CNC thing over there, and I'm just starting to learn how to do like the 3D dimensions and stuff, because I could do plugs off of that. I'm sure I'll figure it out. I've been watching that guy RC to CAD or VR or something like that, and there's been another guy out there. He hasn't had a YouTube channel. I cannot remember the life of me his name, but he's CNCing a Grumman Goose twin engine out of foam. So I've been following along with him too. And he's been doing that all in Fusion. Yeah, Laser Guy, is that his name? Yeah, I know he just posted up a couple days ago. He was designing the retract mechanism for it. So guys I'm sure there's a lot of guys out there, and I know there is, that are far more advanced than I probably ever will get, but I do my best. What do you guys think of that? Does that look too big? Let's get a bigger picture. I kind of like the idea of going a plastic canopy instead of a balsa profile. Then put a guy in there or something. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking. Because that 4-star 20 canopy, I'm trying to remember, it kind of angles back like this off the back. So it would be enclosed, but it'd only be flat. And then maybe, I don't know, we're kind of going after that Blue Angel scheme. I mean, maybe I make a turtle deck. Yeah, I could I'd have to find something a little smaller. I bet a Cougar canopy would work, because it's It's more three-dimensional and looks more jet-like-ish. I don't think I have my old one anymore. I do not. It would be up there if I did. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I could make some kind of turtle deck, you know. I don't envision anything super big, you know, 2-3 inches tall. Because that's all the balsa one is. The profile. It's not very big at all. You know, I bet would work. Oh, can I tell you guys a story? Check this guy out on Outer Zone. It's called the Swinger. My my mom built one of these back in the '90s, and I finally found it. And I'm like, yep, that's a future project. It's a full house glider. But anyways, how about a? I got something in mind here. I wonder if it's available. Yeah, that's it. Let me see if I can zoom in. How about a Cobra? I don't know if it'll focus on that or not. See if I can find a bigger picture. Or the Cobra. That was the 25 size. I wonder if he's got a canopy for that. I'll have to call Herb and find out. It's like the Cougar. It's just smaller. It's Cobra. I bet I could get the canopy for that and it would look good. Because it's kind of pointy like I was thinking. And kind of bubbles out and flares back down a little smaller. I like the idea though. Yeah. Yeah, that wouldn't be a hard canopy to make, the Tiger 2. I haven't had one of those in a while. I will call Herb and see if the Cougar or the Cobra canopy is available. He's had everything else so far. Boy, we're getting some people must be just getting bored coming over. Want to stick around, watch me put some servos in the wing? Yeah. Or at least one of them. Let's take a hatch off. I'm just taking the hatch off, the right aileron hatch off that we made previously. Okay. I got the hatch off. Now the biggest servos, let's get one of these servos out. We'll get these assembled. Now, I know I've probably said this a million times, but I really like the high-tech servos because they got the opening in the back. And makes it real easy to put the grommets in. Yeah, there you go. If I can get the gear off. I thought these were Metal Gear. I guess I didn't order Metal Gear versions. So these are... Did they send me the wrong ones? No. Oh. Yeah, these will work just fine. Okay, so let's get a... So these definitely have a side. I'll try to let the camera focus on it. I probably won't. One's round and one's flat. And the flat goes out. And I just kind of squeeze these together. Push them in. Yeah, I've been attempting to make the canopy on that cauldron, and that thing has been fighting me. I already made one, and I laid the fiberglass up, and it came out the next day, and it still hadn't hardened on the plug, but it had hardened in the cup. And then, so I let it sit out here for a week because I'm like, well, maybe it just got cold. I didn't really get back to it. And like a week later, I don't know if you guys know about these tips or not on putting the grommets in, but just slide them onto your Allen. The flange goes to the bottom, so that way it doesn't cut into your wood. But what I was saying is I came when I let it sit and it kind of got warm and that, and I went to go remove it, and I found that the layer on the inside of the plug was still wet. I'm like, what? And I don't know if I got a bad batch of epoxy or if I laid it up too thick. It's been so long since I've done any kind of fiberglass work. So, anyways, I'm going to mark the direction of the front. So I don't get it all mixed up since it's just a square plate. And then I need to determine how I'm going to put this, what direction I'm going to put the servo in. Generally speaking, I always put the gear towards the outside of the wingtip. Now on flaps, or on ailerons, you put whatever you do on one side, you do on the other completely the same way. So if you put the gear towards the wingtip on the right side, like we're going to do, you put the gear towards the left wingtip on the other side. You don't let them be together, and that way you get the differential throw. On flaps, if you have two flap servos, for instance, and you put one to the right wingtip, you also need to put the other one to the right wingtip. And then I'm just going to kind of center this guy up. I'm not going to put a really long push rod in there, so I'm going to put my geared train towards the aileron. Then I just want to make sure that I got enough room to get everything in here. So we'll need a slot in here for the gear to go through. And then we'll need spruce and then some reinforcements in there for the spruce. So what I like to do is mark out where my servo is going to land. Like so. And eyeball it, make sure it's straight. Not hugely important. If I use this, then I will not be able to get a piece of tri-stock in behind it. But that's okay. I like to make my legs here a little on the long side, so that way I got room to move up and down if I need to. Okay. I'm just going to put a little CA on here for now to kind of hold this down. But I will come back and reinforce this with some epoxy. Yeah. If you can see your line where you drew your pencil line at, you'll have a little bit of breathing room in there for the servo to slide in and out of. Like that. We're going in this way. Okay. What I'm doing here is coming out with a area for where my horn is going to land at. Okay. Now I'm going to put my horn on there, but I'm going to set it off to the side so like it's at full deflection, and I'll know how long to make my slot at. So I'm just marking it like so. And then I'll kind of give myself some room on the top. Along those lines. Okay. Then what I do is I drill 2 holes wherever my drill bit went. That's a little on the small side. I probably don't have the one I need out. Where'd it go? Probably don't matter a whole lot here. Yeah, that'll work. So I marked the extreme angles of my slot there with the standard size mount. We're not going to use anything big like this. It's not going to really be required. And what I'm going to do is I'll drill 2 holes at either end using my extreme marks. That'll give me a rounded edge there that will look nice. And give me a starting point for drilling, for getting the hole out. And I'm going to err on the side of this outside line because I'm just a tiny bit wide with the initial. So yeah, I would imagine they do. It's winter time. Did you tell them your favorite YouTuber sent you there? It might have got you some brownie points. Okay. This is what I like about my scroll saw right here. I'll show you real quick. So this little knob back here, and most scroll saws are like this, releases the tension on the belt, on the thing. And then you take that off. I'm sure probably everybody here probably already knows this. And then you can slip the piece over, and now you can slot the cut. All I'm doing here is cleaning it up a little bit. This bottom one, the bottom dies, so I try to hang on to my bit as much as I can. It's kind of a pain to get it down in there. But yeah, and that's what you end up with, something like that. Yep. Okay, or yeah. That's why I like making cuts like that. Why I like my scroll saw. Okay. Might as well use the supplied screws. That's all there is really to it. We can use my favorite high-tech horn here, which is the sliding one. And then I might need, well, that guy's sticking out a little bit more. Duct tape hanger. Yeah, you might have a problem. He's a pretty good guy. He does things a little bit different, but yeah, he's all right. I met him last year over at Muncie. There we go. Yeah, we might need just a little bit longer of an arm there because we only got. No, I don't. I generally don't. You can. It's peace of mind. This has got to come apart anyways for covering, so this is like a mock-up stage. So I I mean that's 1/4 by 1/2 inch spruce, and I pre-drilled, so you know it, that's kind of like the builder's choice. I usually don't because I usually don't see them just because I have a habit of once that gets done, I'm impatient and I put the servo on too soon, and now it's glued onto the rail. So yeah. Let me see if I can make this other one work. I might have to open the slot up a little bit more because it's a little different design. Oh, no, I just needed to go down all the way. Now, there we go. These are those slotted arms that High-Tech sells. And you can see how much more is sticking out. And then we'll be able to get, we'll have more options there for clevis options. The top 2 holes instead of having this just stick with the first one and it being too close. Of course, the further out on the arm you go, the less torque you have. But these are, what did I say they are earlier? They're 54 inch ounces, and we're, doing an aileron that's 16 inches long and 1.5 inches wide. So that's, more than plenty of torque. So I got to order 4 more servos for this thing. I thought my servo bin was a little fuller than it was, but I guess I'm going to end up putting new servos in this too. So unless somebody wants to donate. But I got to get some other stuff for it too coming because we're getting real close to having this thing finished up. Anyways, I'm going to rinse and repeat this on the other side. And then I'm going to put, I got some room to put dry stock in on like the outside of this. and then epoxy it in, so that way it's a little more secure than CA. That's one thing I usually don't skimp on. Now, if I was uh, couldn't get that in there, I would actually break this off, the one that has the wire sticking out of it that you can't get behind it, and epoxy that back together, so that way it's we don't have a loose servo coming loose. Don't That's not never a good thing. And a plywood on a spruce joint, that CA really didn't get a chance to get down in there and make a good joint. So I will do that on that one, and do the other Airlon servo in the meantime. And then I think next weekend, what do we got to do? So wingtips to finish up, and then I'm going to I'm going to show you guys how to make some wing tubes out of paper for the Airlon servos to slide through. And we got engines to mount. And that'll probably be. I got to make the. Let's do. I'll order that canopy from the Cougar, or from the Cobra. It's a smaller version of the Cougar, if he has it. If he doesn't, I'll see what he's got that might be closed. We might have to modify something for a canopy. And then I got to get servos in for elevator rudder throttles. We'll be running dual throttle servos on this setup. That makes each one much easier. I was thinking about on the bottom of the skid. Yeah, lots of sanding. You got that right. I was thinking about, hear me out on this. So I would love to fly this out at Muncie, because I think everybody will get a kick out of it. And, with the National Fun Fly being this in June. And I don't know if you guys saw my post on the Fun Fly, National Fun Fly deal, but $40 is for all 4 days for the landing fee. I know it's a little steep, but it is a ton of fun. And the CD guy, our past president, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, is going to see about doing a reduced rate for daily admission for guys that don't want to go all 4 days, because I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to go all 4 days at this point, but I'm going to try. Have to see what work commitments do. But anyways, I was thinking about sinking some tail wheels into the skid, like the little 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch tail wheels, so that way when I land this thing on asphalt, it will roll, instead of drag along. I do plan on making the skid out of some 1/4 inch ply, probably pretty thick, and adding some tri-stock in there and stuff. But yeah, we can talk about that next weekend. I think if I sunk some tail wheels in there, 4 of them across the fuselage, it would, wouldn't really. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Great idea. Yeah, that it would make it a little easier to land on like an asphalt surface. Instead of trying to, because the grass over there, over at Site 3, the grassy area is not friendly to airplanes right off the runway. Of course, you got the 2 patches on the either end, but then now you're landing far away from it, and it's hard to keep it flat. So, especially as low to the ground as this thing's going to land. So, I was thinking, if they stuck out like a 1/2 inch or something, it'd give it a way to coast. Weeds, yeah. It's I had an off landing last year with my quickie, and tore the landing gear up on it, and it was just like, a couple inches off the runway that it landed, and there was a hole there that I didn't know about because of the weeds. So yeah, they need to. That's one of my gripes out at AMA, is they need to take better care of Site 3. That's supposed to be the nicest field on the planet, and I've seen way nicer. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like some wheels up in there. So yeah, I think I can. I got an idea in my head how to make that work, and I don't really think it'll hurt the performance of it at all. So, and if the grass is real thick and lush, they're not going to drag along. I have been doing some research on dollies, and one guy, he made his, and it looked like it worked really well. and he had 2 sets of main landing gear, one in front, one in back. And so I think that's the way I'm going to go with the the takeoff dolly on this. So, yeah, we got to build that yet too. Are you guys excited about the next build, the something extra? I know Tom is. I know he's already got his kit. I'm looking forward to that one. Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. What did you 3D print? Yeah, that's a good point. I'm thinking, so if you can, I don't know, so I'm thinking, picture this as my tail skid, and it's gonna have, I know you guys can't see what I'm doing, it's gonna be radius like this. And so what I'm thinking is it'll interrupt in the middle of a tail wheel, and then a tail wheel isn't very wide. So if I put some little plywood, you know, bearings down and put an axle through there, yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking. Like, and then epoxied all that and incorporated. If I could find a tail wheel that was a 1/4 inch wide, it would be perfect. But maybe I'll have to epoxy some spacers in there. Tail wheel bracket. Oh, okay, yeah. But if I have to put some wood spacer zip in there just to give the bearing something to attach to that would be secure, because I don't know how. You don't really know how violent it's going to be until you fly it. That's what I got running around in my head with the tail wheel idea, and I think I'm starting to lean more and more towards that. So, anyways, anybody got any questions? Yep. Okay. Awesome. Well, hey, thanks guys for watching. I wasn't sure I was going to get a big audience tonight with the storm of the century hitting, so it's still snowing. So maybe I'll get brave, and the field in my backyard is completely covered now. Maybe I'll get brave and get some video of the Telemaster flying. It's going to be super windy tomorrow, so I got to watch out for ruts, but maybe I'll have a flying video for you guys next weekend. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching again, and I will see you next 3 o'clock.